JFN.com radio. I am Cesar Gracie, and with me I have George Matthews. What's up, George?
Hey, how's it going, Pedro?
What's going on, man?
We're coast to coast. We have a pretty packed show today.
Yeah, how'd you like our intro music? That's pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
The man with the magic touch over there.
All right, so yeah, we're not like officially the new host right now, but we are kind of filling in, and we'll fill this void, and you know, as they say, the show must go on. So we're going to do our best.
We're viable stand-ins, right? We're not too bad.
I think so. I think we can pull this off for a little while at least.
I think we could do okay.
Yeah. So today we got Cesar Gracie coming on, followed by Belcher and Jake Shields to round off the show. I don't know. I think Cesar's got a lot to talk about. I know you have a lot of questions for him, right?
There is a lot of stuff going on, and Cesar, I would think, would have a lot to say about some of these topics. You know, not just referring to, you know, his fighters, not just Nick's fight with GSP, but just a lot of other things.
Yeah, like what, George? Go ahead, spill it while we wait for him to call in.
There's the whole big thing I've seen is the Lloyd Irvin controversy that's come out, and yesterday I guess was the first, late last night was the first we've seen of anybody publishing anything about it really formally. Bloody Elbow finally put something out. They were, I guess, waiting, speaking with their attorneys and things like that, and gathering up information. But they put out a very, very interesting piece, and it shed a lot of light on things that people are going to have a lot of questions about, especially people who are thinking of joining Team Lloyd Irvin. If you've never trained before and you're looking for a place to train at, these are going to be things that a lot of questions are out right now, and the only person with the answers to some of these questions is Lloyd, really, and he has not said anything yet, not publicly since the last video he posted. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's really off the topic of MMA, but that guy houses some pretty notable MMA fighters that fly his flag. We tried to reach out to him, but obviously we didn't get a response, or he'd probably be on the show with us today. So.
Yeah, and that again, like you said, he is a central figure, not just in jiu-jitsu, but in MMA. Dominic Cruz, Brandon Vera, Mike Easton. These are all top, or were, and are big names in the UFC or have been for a while, or known fighters, and it would be interesting to see what a lot of them have to say about this. These are the people that were or are closest to him, and there's a couple sides to a story, and I guess we'll hear Lloyd's side, but what we've heard so far, it does not paint a good picture.
Mm-hmm. Now, tell our listeners a little bit about your background, George. You're in Atlanta right now. You're one of my buddies for a really long time. We go way back.
We go way back.
What are your credentials? I mean, what gives you the right to talk MMA with these guys and talk about Lloyd Irvin?
I guess credential-wise, I really don't have any more credentials as much as the next person. I do train a lot, fairly regularly, and as far as credential-wise, I'm simply a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, so I don't know what my credentials were, but I do train a lot. I've been involved with the sport. I've been with JFN.com for a while now, for a few years now, and I don't know that I have any more credentials than the next person, but I guess given the fact that I'm around so many fighters and around a lot of events, maybe my opinion holds a little more value than somebody else who hasn't been around those, but, I guess that's what other people would judge.
Well, there it is, Penn Nation. That's George Matthews. We have Cesar Gracie on the line right now, I believe. Mr. Gracie, are you there?
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Good, Cesar. How are you?
I am in the middle of fight camp here. People are working out all around me. So I'm doing well.
Yeah, you have a lot of fights coming up. You have Gil's fight, you have Nate's fight, and you have more currently is Nick Diaz versus GSP. So
yeah, that's the big one coming up first. Exactly.
What's going on over there over at your team right now? I mean, fights next week. So what's the energy like?
It's a good energy. We got the countdown show here, wrapping it up with Nate. I'm seeing Nate hitting mitts and punching, kicking, everything. He's in the ring right now punching with Richard Perez. Nick is to my left hitting the double end bag. He just did a bunch of rounds sparring with some pros. And Gilbert, I'll see him a little later tonight when I head out and I meet him and Jake Shields in San Francisco. So it's still well.
Surrounded by excellence. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about. Right now, I think at the top of my list for you, Cesar, is what is your thoughts on Dana's reaction to saying that Nick has missed the countdown shoots and was thinking about removing him from the fight and all that stuff? I mean, there's been a lot of drama, and I don't know if that's just to help sell the fight more or what's going on. But what are your thoughts on it?
I don't think it was to sell the fight. I think there was some miscommunication on what was going on. I mean, when I heard that, I was thinking, wait a minute, Nick finished that shoot already, and it came out great. You know, the guys that texted me how good of a job Nick did, and so I didn't really know what Dana was talking about. I do know I think it was the first day or two, whatever, there was Nick's had a little schedule going, and he's not going to stop his schedule for media. He just doesn't work that way. So he had to do it on his terms pretty much, but, it was that in the same time frame, whatever, a couple of days, whatever it was, and he did it, and it came out great. So.
Okay. Not to badmouth Dana or anything like that, but do you think in your estimate, is this true? He was throwing out a number like $50,000 has been lost.
No way. No way, man. No way. It's impossible. The guys that were doing the shoot, the main guy lives in Sacramento, which is a drive to Lodi. It's maybe 45 minutes away or something. And I don't know, if we're paying the camera crew that much, then he could pay these fighters more, because it's like, who the hell gets $50,000 in a couple of days? It's like, where's that coming? I don't know. Like I said, though, it's a non-issue. I don't care. Nick has actually done his obligations. I think he's done everything. But, he went to Montreal, for God's sake. I mean, he went out there and, first try, everything, it all got done. So there's really been not issues with this one. Nick is training very hard, and we're trying to keep the distractions to a minimum, and he's in great shape for this fight.
Okay, excellent. How do you see it going down with Nick and GSP?
I don't know. That's the beauty of MMA. People always ask me what I see, and it's like, well, I'm hoping for something. I'm hoping, third round stoppage. I don't know if it'd be TKO or submission, whatever is what I'm kind of hoping on, and kind of seeing it going that way a little bit. But like I said, the beauty about the sport is you truly never know. You could lose, you could win. It's so exciting.
Okay.
These are a lot of people think that the fight is really cut and dry with the way they see it. Most of the fans that they think, GSP will just take him down, and then there'll be fight. He'll fight his way to another decision.
Yeah.
What do you think about the people that simply see it as black and white like that?
Well, the people, I get that so many times that it doesn't really faze me. Remember, I've been around this game a long time. If you remember, like when Nick fought Robbie Lawler back in the day, and they saw it as a cut and dry, it was like a 5-1 underdog or whatever. You can't take Robbie Lawler down because of wrestling credentials, and Lawler's going to kill him standing up, and bam, Nick knocked him out. And it was just, and the Gomi fight was the same thing. And everybody likes to underestimate people, and they figure they know what's going to happen, and it's if everybody was thinking Nick was going to destroy GSP, it still doesn't change anything for me. You know what? I don't care if people think that he's going to lose or going to win. It's not going to change the outcome of the fight. So I never let it bother me.
So with GSP has fought a lot of he's fought the best guys in the weight class. Nick is one of the only remaining pieces of the puzzle, really, in that weight class that presents a different style challenge for him.
Uh-huh.
But he's fought a lot of black belts in jiu-jitsu. He's also a black belt in jiu-jitsu. What separates Nick's jiu-jitsu black belt from GSP's jiu-jitsu black belt? What are they? Where is the line different?
I guess me. I don't know. I mean, that sounds kind of arrogant, but he got his black belt from me. And you see Nick actually finishing people in fights. But like I said, it's one of these things that I got a tremendous amount of respect for GSP. Anybody that earned a black belt, and he's got really good training partners, and he's just not a black belt for show. The guy is excellent, and he's the best welterweight that the UFC's ever had, really. So he's the man, you know what I mean? And Nick is trying to show that he's better than him. So it's an exciting fight, and there's no reason to downplay GSP's skills whatsoever. The guy is very skilled. He's great stand-up, great ground, great takedowns. He's got the whole package there where he can hurt you anywhere. The thing I'm hoping for, I don't mind a win or a loss for one of my guys. I just like to see him win or lose. What I hate is like someone trying to hold you or someone trying to run. I want it to be like, you beat them, and I think my guys get better when they know they got beat. It's like, that guy beat me. He just brought his A game and he beat me, and it just shows that I have to get better. But one thing that I will never tell one of my guys to do, and I know a lot of camps do that, is just say, hey, just win at any cost and run around and try to appoint them or try to impress the judges. And you really don't win the fight that way. And I don't think you endear yourself to the fans. And so I'd rather have my guy, like, really lose, get knocked out, get submitted, whatever. Obviously, I don't want that, but I would rather have that than the fans go, man, I didn't get what I just paid for. I paid this much money for a pay-per-view, or I paid this much money to go see an event. And these guys, they were scared to fight each other. That's not what MMA should be about. You know what I mean? That's not what captured the imagination of the public. So that's the way I feel about it.
Okay. There's a lot of scandal right now, Cesar, in the BJJ world with Team Lloyd Irvin, and I know it's a sensitive subject, but George and I were talking about it before we got on the air, and George has kind of been following the story real close. I wonder what your thoughts are on the whole Lloyd Irvin situation.
I don't really know Lloyd Irvin that well. Here, let me walk out because they're playing music now. Here we go. I'm going to give you my take on it. Like I said, I don't know Lloyd personally. I've met him a few times, but it's not like I really know the guy, So I don't, whatever happens or doesn't happen, it doesn't matter to me. What I think about it is I've been involved in this sport forever. That was my dream as a kid, to be a jiu-jitsu instructor, to follow in the ways of our founder, Carlos Gracie, to do something and change these kids' lives for the better. And then when I see someone and that instead uses the sport for their own advancement in a perverted way, I get mad, because that's not what jiu-jitsu is about. That's not what the martial arts should be about. And so I kind of follow this a little bit, because obviously there's a lot of jiu-jitsu guys at my school, and they keep me, they tell me what's going on, or I'll see something on the internet or something, and it's kind of, I just don't like it, It's like, wait a minute, you're telling, if it's true, a lot of it's alleged, but if the allegations are true, then I'm kind of sickened by it, and it's like, hey, this guy's got to go, you know what I mean?
Two of his students were charged on New Year's Eve with sexually assaulting one of their own teammates, and in the wake of that, Lloyd's past came out and things like that. But my question is do you think that the instructor should? Because a lot of people were holding Lloyd responsible for it. Is that justified? That their instructor, because they were living in the fighter house.
It's only it really isn't. It depends. I mean, it's justified if that's the atmosphere the instructor has created. If he has created a certain atmosphere of disrespect towards, in this case, towards women, and like it's cool or it's funny or something like that, then yeah, it's going to be like, hey, it's you got to have some responsibility, right? Now, if the guy is an upstanding person and he doesn't conduct himself and he's ashamed of people like that, everything, then of course it's like you can't. You can just barely control your own kids. You got to control a whole academy. You got hundreds of people in there. You don't, you're not their father, and if they do something wrong, you got to kick them out, and you shouldn't be held responsible. So, like I said, I really don't know what their academy structure was like. A lot of the stuff I'm in contact sometimes with Tom Carlos. I think it's that one of his brown belts fathers, and Keenan, I think the guy's name is. And so he's, exactly. So we talk on the phone because I've known him from the days when he sent BJ Penn to Hawaii to come train at my school, when I was with school with House. And so, he kind of, we talked on the phone. He's kind of told me some crazy stuff. And like I said, if that stuff's true, it's unacceptable.
Absolutely. All right, Cesar. What about let's touch on Nate's upcoming fight with Josh Thompson. Josh is a guy that your camp is more than familiar with the Gilbert trilogy and all that
right.
stuff. So, what do you think? What do you think about this fight? And what's if you can give us some insight into what Nate thinks about this fight and just overall what's going on?
Well, the thing about Josh, you never know which Josh is going to show up, and he can be very crafty. He's a true veteran. He's been in the sport for a long time. He's been in a lot of big fights. It doesn't faze him. And he brings a lot to the table. He's got good wrestling skills. He's got good stand-up. I think he's a black belt or something in jiu-jitsu with David Camarillo, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a tough kid. He knows how to win fights. And sometimes he's really tough, and sometimes he can get worked over pretty bad. So we're just gonna anticipate the best guy who's gonna come to the table, and we're gonna react likewise.
Okay. Now, the last time we saw Nate was against Benson Henderson. Unfortunately for Diaz Brothers fans, he lost that fight. But
he lost. He didn't look good. I don't think it was indicative of who he is. He had a bad night. Not a bad night. I'm not going to say that. He got beat by the better guy that night for sure. There's a lot that happens in fights. And there's a lot of things that people don't know about, and we don't like to bring it up because it's like, it's an excuse, but it's part of the fight game too, and it's part of winning and losing. If you don't have your stuff in order, that's part of the fight. It's like you didn't prep right, or some issues you were having in your life you weren't happy with, and that's all part of winning and losing. And the winner is the guy that puts that stuff aside, and unfortunately that wasn't us this time. So a lot of people were looking at it like, that really the Nate Diaz we saw fight Miller? And these guys, it's like, what's going on? So, we'll keep it to ourselves, the stuff, but I guarantee it's going to make Nate that much better, and we're going to see him, going back, rising to the top again.
Right. Now, we were all at that fight live because BJ was on the card too. But in your opinion, that wasn't Nate at his 100% optimum potential, was it?
It was you could see it even in the weigh-in, his physique. Like if you look at the last fight before that and everything, it's like, these fighters, they got to prep correctly. There was contractual issues and stuff like that where, people don't know this, literally a couple weeks before the fight, Nate wasn't even sure he was fighting. It was that bad that we were having problems with certain things. It got resolved, but it's like it's hard to train for a fight like that with that mentality when you're not happy with certain things and everything. And it was a mistake on his part. You got to just put all that aside. And, and Henderson, that's what he did, and that's why he's the champ today. So, but it's a learning experience, and we're going to move on.
Okay. What do you do in those situations, Cesar, as like I mean, I know you're more than a coach and you're more than a manager. You're like the jack of all trades. You're a mentor over there, and those guys really look up to you. So how do you avoid those things from happening, those kind of like mental hang-ups as the fight, approaches?
There's some things that you can tell someone something. It's like how, I got 2 kids, and you can tell your kids something, but there's nothing like it happening to you to teach you a lesson in life. It's like, and that's why I say, you got it. Sometimes the mistakes you make have to bite you. They got to get you for you to really learn a lesson. And I think that was one of the things that happened to Nate. It was like, here, lesson learned. The things I told him, what did I see in my experience that were happening, everything that was happening. You can tell a guy 100 times, but he's not going to listen until it happens. And then, it's like, oh, this happened. He was right or whatever. So it's just like, that goes for all of us, me, you, Nate, anybody. It's like that's just part of the life experience. And, he's moved on from it, and we're going to just try to keep going from there.
Okay. Do you think that, I'm sure you have confidence in your guy, but do you see Gilbert Melendez being the next UFC lightweight champion?
I really do. That's just one of those fights where I think it's going to be great. Styles make fights. Gilbert has a wrestling pedigree to kind of stifle a lot of stuff with Henderson. It's going to be a lot of stand-up, I think, in that fight. There'll be takedowns, too. But we've brought great people in to kind of negate Henderson's guillotine chokes and everything. It's going to be a barn burner, that one. I think it's going to be, just one of those great fights. And my thought is at the end of the night, Gilbert's got his hand raised. So it's an exciting night.
Okay. Does the fight with Nate against Benson, does that help you guys prepare for Gilbert's upcoming fight?
Not really, because, a little bit. Obviously, we kind of figured, here, this is what's going to happen, and this is what's going to happen. Gilbert's been working with Johnson also on his kickboxing. And I look at Nate, and we're working on a lot of stuff. His front foot is always turned in a little bit. And I know a lot of people are going to look at that, and they're going to think, kick out that front foot, and he can't hit you or whatever. But it's stuff we're fixing, but it's stuff that Gilbert has already fixed in his game, a while back. So there's stuff like that. And, like I said, it's just one of those things we're going to have to see what happens.
Okay, great. Out of the 3 big fights coming up, you have Big GSP, Nate's fight, and Gilbert's fight. Which one are you most looking forward to? And also, which one are you most confident in? Is there one that you're more confident in than the other?
At this level of the game, my top guys are always fighting the very best guys. So it's the confidence thing. It's like I literally go to bed not knowing what I don't allow myself to have too much confidence because then the letdown is big if you're going to lose, and maybe the victory isn't as big when you win. So I just kind of try to stay like, okay, let's see what's going to happen. You prep the guys to the best of your ability and kind of go from there. Now the biggest fights, obviously, the first fight is the biggest. The biggest fight is going to be Nick Diaz. It's GSP. That's a gigantic fight. That's one that's going to be everybody talks about. And then when that one's done, the biggest fight's going to be, the next title fight, which is going to be the Henderson fight with Melendez. And then we got girls fight after that. It's Leslie Smith. So it's kind of like I don't allow myself to look at one fight. It's like, okay, let's get this one done. Let's focus on it and move on from there.
Okay. Makes sense. Let me ask you this: something I really didn't know, and I'm assuming that probably a lot of like the people who just follow MMA may not know is like Cesar Gracie, the businessman. We have a mutual friend, you and I, in Lynn Mitchell, who moved to Hawaii. She's helping you run a school out there. What is that all about? And what is? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I said right. You asked me what it's all about. Yeah. It's just another school opening. It's in Oahu on the other side. It's not in Honolulu where all the other schools are, and it's about getting our brand, kind of bringing it out to different places. All my guys love Hawaii. They go there all the time, so it's kind of nice to have a place to work out there. We have a teammate that's right down the road there, Yancy Medeiros, who's got a UFC fight coming up also, and he's going to be coming out here. I want to say March 20th he'll be out here training for that fight. So it's just good to kind of branch out and, put academies in places people like to go and have fun with it.
How many schools do you have right now?
Affiliates and everything else, it's not that many. It's like 20 or something like that. I mean, with affiliates, it's not like I've done a Gracie Baja type thing or a Lloyd Irving thing or whoever has a million affiliates out there. We haven't really sat there and focused on that to be our business model. It's something I would definitely consider for the future, though, where we can kind of keep branching out the more time I have and everything. So, yeah, but I'm fortunate to say the ones we do have are top quality, because a lot of times you start really losing control, and it just kind of becomes, like I know a lot of the Gracie Baja schools are great, and then some are just kind of McDojo-esque, I would say. And it's hard to keep quality on too many schools, I think.
Is that a problem, you think, in a lot of these schools now, that the
for sure. It's
system is getting watered down?
Yeah, it's a money-making venture. It's like, hey, let's do this and not really care about quality as long as those paychecks are coming in and everything. And ultimately, I think it downgrades the sport, and it's not the greatest thing. It isn't. They open up everywhere, advertise, and then the people don't get the real experience of what I went, in Brazil, what I went through, and a bunch of other guys have had the fortune to have gone through in the United States and everything, where they have real schools. They really got to earn their belt. They really got to learn their material and train and everything, and that's what a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu / Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is really all about, And if you deny people that, it's kind of, you're doing them a disfavor. Here, come in here, sign this. Okay, give us some money, and we'll give you your next belt, whatever. It's kind of, you put some money in your pocket, but at the end of the day, you did nothing. You've deprived that person of an experience that could have been really good in their lives, is the way I look at it.
Right.
Okay. Well, Cesar, I don't think we have any more questions for you right now. The one last thing I wanted to touch on is the Diaz flight.
Yeah.
Because I have this on my list here. You tweeted out Nick should be flying first class. Dana White responded at the next press conference. He cost us enough money already. Can you give us a lowdown on that? Did Nick just say screw it, I'm upgrading yourself, or did the UFC step up?
I actually talked to Dana on the phone about this afterwards, and he kind of, how Dana is. He speaks his mind, and I respect that. I don't always see eye to eye with the guy, but one thing I like is when people speak their minds, because I hate people that, that don't, and they're thinking something different. And he told me the whole, I should be sending him on a Greyhound bus because this, that, whatever. I would just like to, we can buy our own tickets. It's just, the thing is I just want to see fighters that are fighting for main events and making a company millions of dollars and everything, just treated with the kind of respect that maybe a boxing guy gets or something. Like, hey, you got this fight. It's a big show. I mean, we're going to take care of you, make sure you're comfortable so you can perform to your best when you get here, not so you're all cooped up in a small, small seat in a plane somewhere with a bunch of people next to you coughing, whatever, and you get to the show and you're kind of, that's just my opinion on it. And, and Dana has a different opinion, and it's all good.
Okay. Awesome, Cesar. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. I know it was kind of short notice, and you stepped up and you came on the show for us, and I really appreciate it, as always, everything you do. And we wish you the best of luck with all your upcoming fights, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, guys. Take care.
All right. Bye.
All right. Cesar Gracie always has a lot of interesting things to say, especially with the current events that have been happening lately.
Yeah, that was interesting. How do you think that went, George? That was our first official live on-air radio interview.
Not too bad, but mostly because Cesar is always so forthcoming when he's speaking. He doesn't really he's not really trying to put on. He really shoots from the hip and gives you the honest truth.
Yeah. Were you satisfied with his Lloyd Irvin information he gave out?
Well, I don't necessarily expect anybody to come out and bury anyone, at least condemn anybody yet. The facts are still coming out, and I think there's a lot more to come. So until a lot of things are laid out on the table, I think everybody is just waiting to see where the cards are falling before they before they form 100% judgment and give their opinion. Although I think a lot of people, most of what I've seen, are not defending Lloyd in this. The facts are weighed pretty heavily right now. So I don't know where it's going to head, but we're going to find out because every day more and more is coming out.
Yep. That's true, my friend. Next up we have Alan Belcher. We actually have to call him at his gym to get him on the phone. The guy's probably training right now. He's got a fight coming up with Michael Bisping. So he did say
both of them.
Yeah. He did say he would take some time out of his training, but just to please call his gym and have them grab him. And so what I thought would be funny was if we call his gym, and I doubt he's going to pick up the phone. So whoever picks up the phone, we just kind of say, hey, we represent Michael Bisping. We want to talk to Alan and see if there's any reaction. That might be kind of funny, huh?
Yeah, but I know you said it before, but it's a shame that we don't have anybody that sounds like Michael Bisping to call.
I know, man. What's up with you? Let's hear your Michael Bisping impression.
I don't have a good Michael Bisping. If I had a good Michael Bisping, I'd be more than willing to call and pretend to be Michael Bisping. Nobody would ever believe it.
That would be so classic, right?
It would be great if in fact one of us could impersonate. What we need is there are a couple guys that really do get some good impersonations.
Yeah. Those impersonation guys are pretty sick, man. Those guys, whoever does those videos, those animated videos, are pretty right on.
I forgot his name, but whoever does it, yeah, he does a really good Nate Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
The videos are really good.
Yeah. All right. We still have a few minutes to kill. I'm going to call Alan in about 3 minutes. Unfortunately, I'd rather have the guys call in, but we're going to call, so we're going to the listeners out there, they're going to hear the rings and all that stuff. But it is what it is. We're trying to make it work.
Yeah, when you're trying to get guys in the middle of training camp, you kind of have to make some concessions for, to make it easy on people. So he is training for a fight. It is a big fight with Michael Bisping, and there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with that too. It's a bet. There was something that I also saw something earlier today about an NFL player offering up his Rolls-Royce Phantom to Michael Bisping if he were to knock out Alan Belcher in the first round. He offered to give him his Rolls-Royce Phantom. So that's interesting too.
It's crazy, man. And Alan's super excited about it. I was talking to him the other day, and he was just like, "Did you see the latest bet?" And I was just like, "Yeah, how could I miss it? It's everywhere." But he's got some pretty interesting stuff he's working on. He's really trying to promote this fight the best he can, and I think he's doing a pretty good job so far.
I think so too. In fact, if everybody takes the bet, or if I guess Alan is the one who proposed it, so if Michael Bisping accepts Alan's tattoo bet, it would actually make for a very interesting outcome, very pro wrestling-like outcome.
Yeah. I don't see Mike doing it. I don't know. Maybe we'll get him on. Maybe we'll get him on the radio, next week or so, and figure it out. The guy got here in OC, I believe, which is around the corner from me, or I'm actually in OC, so he's around the corner from me. So
yeah, that'd be interesting. He has not. I think he's yet to respond to the bet.
He has. I mean, he can't really take these bets. I mean, no way does he want the Johnny Cash tattoo,
But if he's 100% sure he's going to win, then I guess what are you really betting if you're that certain?
Yeah, it's a pretty tough call to make. If I was in his shoes, I'd probably just ignore it.
Yeah. But then again, if he wins, it would be Alan walking around with a British flag and Michael Bisping's face on his chest, apparently.
All right, I'm gonna call Alan's gym right now. Let's see if he picks up, or if we get somebody else on the line. I'll try to come up with something. We'll say with Michael Bisping.
Okay.
See how this goes. our little switchboard here is dialing, so if everybody just bears with us a moment. Who are you picking in this fight, George? Bisping or Allen? Or are you undecided?
I am undecided. It's a really good fight. Two guys who like to stand. And neither of them get tired. They're going to go hard until one of them is out of there, or they're going to go hard for 3 rounds. It's going to be interesting.
Oh, you know what? Alan just texted me to call his cell. So let's just, I guess we're not going to be able to do our Michael Bisping prank. I'm going to give him the call-in number, and we'll just have him call into the show. That'll be the easiest thing to do right about now.
Yes, we could just shoot him a text and tell him to call in.
For people who don't know Alan Belcher, his mind moves a mile a minute. I'm sure we're going to see that right now when he gets on the show. So sometimes you just got to be adaptable.
Alan is he's become a pretty popular fighter in the last few years too.
He's awesome, dude. I love this guy.
Absolutely, one of the top middleweights for some time now. We'll see. It's a very interesting fight with Michael Bisping, just simply because of where the rankings are. You've got middleweight being very cloudy right now. Weidman just got the fight today. They just agreed upon today. So who would be next for Anderson? Somebody who can string together a couple of wins. People were thinking Hector Lombard. That doesn't look like it's going to pan out. So a fresh opponent for Anderson Silva is likely, whoever can string together some wins and is a fresh opponent is likely going to get a title shot.
I know Alan wants that fight, man. He's been wanting it, and it's a shame. He probably would have been really close if he hadn't lost to Okami, but that's the name of the game, huh?
It is, and I think that a lot of people discredit him with the loss to Okami, but then they, if you look at Okami's performance against Lombard, I guess you can give Lombard the 3rd round, but Okami did pretty well, a lot better than people gave him credit for going into that fight, and he's a pretty tough fighter. He really has only lost to the top guys in the division, and it's really not a lot of people get by Yushin Okami, so no shame in losing to that guy.
Are you there, George, or did I lose you?
Yep. I didn't know for a second. But for that reason alone, it's going to be an interesting fight because the division is just so muddled right now. They were trying to come up with challengers, and a lot of the guys, would be looking at rematches if they can string together wins. So a fresh face is really what they need. I think, Weidman is getting the shot. He's been asking for it. He's strung together a lot of wins. He is coming off of surgery, so that should be interesting. But
well, that's what I was kind of thinking. I was like, man, Anderson's going to have to fight this guy eventually, and if he's going to take that fight, might as well take it with the knowledge, knowing that this guy's coming off surgery. He's going to have action for a while. You know what I mean? Not to say that Anderson couldn't take the 100% Weidman, and I'm not saying that Weidman isn't going to come in 100% anyways. But I'm just saying, if history has proven anything, that guys with long layoffs, man, they come in a little rusty, So
for sure, that is a true statement. It does exist. Cage rust does exist, and I can't see how it wouldn't be an advantage for Anderson. The guy hasn't fought. He's coming off of it was a tough surgery. On top of that, he had the big hurricane that he had to deal with. That was probably an entire ordeal in itself that probably also isn't sorted out yet 100%. So, it's a good time to fight Weidman, I guess. You could look at it that way. But, he is getting the shot, and he has strung together a lot of wins. And it's a fresh face. And again, it's amazing that Michael Bisping has been in the division so long, ranked, and he's just barely missed his shot every single time. He's fallen a little bit short. That's what I'm saying. Just anybody who can string together a few wins at this point can probably make the case for themselves for a middleweight title shot.
Agreed. All right, well, Alan is saying he's in our queue. I don't have him on my switchboard. So let's just do this real quick. I'm going to conference him in right now using my phone, and let's just get him on the line, okay?
Okay.
Hold on 1 second, Georgie. Keep the listeners active.
So, all right. But at any rate, before Alan gets on, in case anybody didn't know about the bet that Alan proposed to Michael Bisping for his upcoming fight was, I guess Bisping had stated in an interview that he could knock out Alan Belcher in the first round, 100% guaranteed, no questions asked.
Yeah. George, are you there?
I'm here, and I guess we can just have Alan talk to us about it a little bit.
All right, Alan. I found it.
Yeah, hey, let me talk to the host.
How's it
What's
going,
up?
Alan?
Great, man. About to get into the gym, getting changed. About to throw down a little bit.
All right, now we had this whole thing, man. You told me to call your gym, and we were going to try to pull a little prank where we were going to do our best Michael Bisping impersonation and tell the person that picked up the phone that we wanted to talk to you. But you switched the game up.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. Sorry, I messed that up. Y'all need to get Bisping on the phone at the same time. Anyways, I don't see why we don't do that more in MMA.
That would be an excellent
you
idea.
media guys are dropping the ball. You guys are dropping the ball, and that's what I'm going to do myself. As a matter of fact, if I had a date, I would tell you. But sometimes in the next month, I'm going to host my own press conference online where everybody can tune in, live streaming video, and Michael Bisping is going to be able to get on there and say whatever he wants, answer questions from the media, and debate me.
That's a good concept. Are you really going to do that?
I really am going to do that.
That's awesome.
That's right. Hey, whether or not he'll accept it and come on, I think that would be huge. Everyone would enjoy that. That would cut down on as many interviews that he'd have to do. Me too, as well. Everybody can get on there. We'll just take an hour and answer all the questions, and everybody can write articles all at once. Knock that crap out, and we can go back to focus on training.
Has he said anything about the bet you proposed to him? I mean, I haven't heard anything since the video came up about a week ago.
No, I think he's laying low. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Bisping acts like he's too good to say anything about it. Like he's too good to fight me or something. So I think he's making a big mistake by trying to underestimate me. But I think it may be just an act.
Do you think he'll actually end up responding at all to your bet, or?
No,
Did you expect a response?
I don't think he will. Do what now?
Did you expect a response from him?
I was hoping that he would make a video or something, and at least say "F you" or something. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I actually thought it'd be a lot of fun if you guys would if you would accept the bet and you could be the one performing these tattoos on each other. That would make it even more interesting. That would tattoo artist and let you do it. You know, you can do it yourself, or you win, let him do it. The interesting tattoo you guys end up with.
That is, but yeah, no, I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that. I mean, you know, the bet is. That was kind of disrespectful to say that you guarantee that you're going to take somebody out in the first round. I mean, I'm not saying that I haven't lost a fight in the first round, but the one time that has happened out of all of my fights, and not even including my pro fights, but amateur boxing, amateur kickboxing,
BJJ, no gi, anything I heard. I mean, I got put to sleep one time, and I got TKO'd one time, and that's it. And I never even went down when I got TKO'd. I was still on my feet. So to say somebody is just, I mean, I'm like the most durable person almost ever to fight. I don't think anyone's going to just come in and stomp me. I mean, especially after they already tell me that they are going to stop me in the first round. That's like a big hell no. You ain't going to do that. I guarantee it. But I ain't worried about that. I'm worried about winning, not how I'm going to lose. So let's get it on. I'm ready.
When you look at his game, how do you break his game down? Like, he's had a lot of fights in the UFC. There's obviously a lot of footage for both of you guys. You guys have had so many big high-level fights in the biggest organizations.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, he's a very hard person to beat. I mean, he knows how to play the game. He knows how to win the rounds. He knows how to win the exchanges. He knows how to win fights. That's the most dangerous thing about Michael Bisping is his experience and the way he plays the game and the hustle, the fast pace. And that's all part of playing the game. Hustling and the fast pace lets him get ahead of people, and then he sneaks in a takedown or makes sure that you can't get him down. Make sure he finishes the rounds hard, wins at one exchange, one round at a time, moves around a lot. He's real fast, but his takedowns are, nothing great. He's not a real wrestler. And on the ground, he's not going to submit me. He's not going to put me in trouble at all. And then standing up, I think I don't have to tell you that he doesn't really have a lot of knockouts. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you just look at his record, I don't think he has any at all, especially not in the UFC. So, I mean, I'm gonna try to hurt him. I'm gonna go in there and make him feel the power right off the bat that he doesn't really understand how hard I can punch and how hard I can kick. So I'm going to go forward the whole time, make the fight happen. His only chance is jabbing and moving.
What did you take from his fight with Vitor?
Do what now?
What did you take from his fight with Vitor Belfort, if anything at all?
He's not very technical, or he's not very knowledgeable in how to kickbox. You got to know. You have to be expecting a southpaw to fake a left hand to throw a left head kick, and trying to block a kick with one hand. Just have to have a little bit more training than that. This thing doesn't block kicks. He doesn't know how to block kicks, and so I'm just a dangerous person for him, and that's a run like a point fighter's nightmare. When you try to move around, when you go to the left, I'll left kick you low. You go to the right, I'll right kick you low. His legs are going to be hurting. He doesn't block kicks. So,
where does a win over Bisping put you in the division? Do you think, Alan? I know you've been clamoring for a title shot for a while. Unfortunately,
yeah.
You had the last.
I mean, honestly, with the ranking system and stuff, I can actually, say that it puts me at the top. But I don't really care. If the UFC hadn't implemented rankings, I would have said I don't care. Because everyone's going to have their own opinion. It's going to be a lot of different stuff. But I mean, with this way it's set up now, it's going to put me in his spot. If they got him number 3, it'll put me right there. So, another fight or two away, whatever. But I mean, I don't care, man. I've lost to Okami twice in my career, and I can't never get those back. Okami right now is just still super tough. What I got to do is just stay fresh and keep improving while I'm still at my age, So my next few years, I just got to go on a tear and get back on a streak. My winning streak last time was, it was a great streak, and all of it was spread out over 2 or 3 years, and I wasn't really busy, you know. And I came back and I beat some people easy, and I got a little cocky. So a loss kind of lit a fire under my ass, and man, I just hadn't felt it like you know, when I first got into the UFC, I lost, and I was like, dang, I gotta, you know, do something. Then I won, and I was like on top of the world, you know. And that year or two right there was a lot of, you know, ups and downs, wins and losses, but I learned so much, and it was so much fun and such a crazy time. Once I got settled in as a UFC fighter and knew I could compete with the best guys. And then I had my eye injury, and it was, you know, my career was threatened and all that. It's just, you know, I kind of never felt the same again. I was like, man, I kind of, you know, missed that feeling. But, you know, after that last loss, sometimes that's what you need to wake up, you know. And, you know, it's not that I didn't take it seriously or was unprepared or I'm making any excuses, because Okami, anybody fails a guillotine in the first round, you're probably not getting back up with Okami.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Lombard got up a couple of times during the fight, but I mean, geez, I'm not as explosive as he is. God dang. You know, there ain't many people that's going to be able to explode and get back up, but that made him tired and made him easier to take down. Okami's a beast, man, and he has gotten better slowly over the years. So I mean, he's still a force, dude. I mean, they gave him a title shot when they did not even want him on the main card. They just had to. So like 7 or 8 wins in a row. Nobody could beat him. He could just beat everyone. So they had to give him a title shot. You know, that's crazy. So now he's trying to do the same thing again. He's like, I'm just going to beat everybody again. You know, that's the only person that he lost to with Anderson Silva. And then, I mean, Okami is, you know, he kind of takes off the third round like you saw in my fight. You saw Lombard's fight. He's kind of like, I won the first 2, and then he always gets beat in the third. That's what happened with Belcher. Was a little bit of a fluke in my opinion, but, I mean, I think Okami's badass. Kudos to Chael Sonnen for, you know, his performance against him. But, you know, Okami's still going to be top as long as he wants to be. He's got a couple good years left for sure.
Yeah. What happened?
You know, Belfort is on top, and who knows how long he's going to be around. But you know, the thing about it is, out of the top 10, there's only a couple guys that are under 30 years old, and that's me and Weidman, and I'm not sure if there is anyone else, to tell you the truth. So I feel good. I feel like I'm in my prime. And if you fast forward 2 years from now and I haven't lost, then probably 6 out of the 8 other guys are going to be out of there.
That's very true.
Forced out by age and, you know, just a long career.
Yeah.
So,
if you ever have to face Okami again, what do you do differently?
Man, I wish I could get that opportunity. It's not, you know, ever going to happen. I mean, you don't have anything to gain from that. But, you know, I would just, I would, you know, I would probably work on my striking a little more, and I felt like I underestimated his striking. I thought I was going to beat him easy. Although I beat him in the stand-up game, I feel like I could have turned it up a notch, maybe been in a little bit better shape, and you know, just keep hustling, trying to keep him from taking me down, and not, you know, the mistake in the fight. A lot of people don't really notice the little things, but I failed a guillotine in the first round, and it's hard. You get held down the whole first round, then you're sweaty, you're tired, and it's like the second round I failed another guillotine, and it wasn't from him shooting in at me going for guillotines. Like I tried to take me down from the fence, I reversed it, landed on top, scramble situation. That's when I went for the guillotine. So, I mean, I really only got taken down in the third round when I was tired, and he returned me. When I stood back up, he was behind me, and he kind of like did a little return, just bumped me down. Technically, if you want to count takedowns, that's the only time I've been taken down in for a long time, you know. So, I mean, I think that I'm still hard to take down, and I would just not go for guillotines, and that would probably make the difference in the fight. So, I'm throw that out of my game. I'm not from now on, I'm taking it back to the old school, and I'm just going to knock people out, and they're going to have to work their ass off to get me down. And that's it, man. Still going to be dangerous on the ground. I grapple every single day. I love it, man. I have a passion for it.
Is Yushin Okami as strong as you always hear fighters talking about? Oh, Yushin Okami so strong. Even Chael Sonnen was saying it's the strongest guy I ever touched. Yushin Okami, is he as strong as everyone says he is in fights, physically?
Well, I mean, he's just a big middleweight, you know, and he is, you know, he's a strong guy. He's got a lot of leverage too. That feels strong, you know. So when I gave him the underhooks and he locked him down and everything, I couldn't pummel underneath. He was really strong, but I mean, he didn't just on the ground. I believe it was just a mix of his body style and body build and his technique that just held me down, you know. I think he's just a really technical, really good grappler. You know, he's got decent takedowns, and his control and his lay-in prey is damn good.
Yes, sir. All right, let's bring the focus back to Bisping and these bets.
Yeah.
You had your friend put up a $300,000 car.
I mean, I didn't have him do anything. That was his own idea. He did that on the spot right then, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to up the bet. I'm going to put up my $300,000 car." And yeah, I mean, I don't expect this thing to take that bad. I mean, although he makes pretty damn good money, you know, he definitely knows better than that. But I mean, he's not going to bet it, man. I'm telling you, it's act. He's worried about this fight. He's scared about striking. He knows that I hit hard, and he knows I'm not a Brian Stan. That's not like my only chance. He knows he would have to be on top of his game to even get me down to the ground, and to hold me down is another story. I'm bigger and I'm stronger. I'm going to whip Bisping come UFC 159, and you know, that's all there is to it. If you want to see the action of me training every single day, all you got to do is check out my videos, my video blogs. If you want exclusive access to them, I have a little website called immunitymma.com. And, like, we've already done, like, a couple episodes that haven't even been released on YouTube or whatever, so thousands of people are subscribing to that, and they're getting to see, like, my everyday training and my video blogs. So it was pretty popular for my last fight, so I took it to the next level on this one. So, you know, if you want to check that out, got some big plans, man. I want to, you know, I think the loss, like, totally changed my whole attitude, and I'm going to come in there and whip some butt come April 27th.
I wanted to make a little segue real quick and ask you something. We just had Cesar Gracie on the phone. We were talking to him about it, and you're also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and you're big into grappling. You love grappling. There's a lot of controversy going on that's come up in the last couple of weeks, but yesterday a big article posted on Lloyd Irvin, and a lot of controversy going on. You know, what do you think about all this? You've attended the seminars before. There's a lot of people coming out saying, making some different accusations about things, people part of his mastermind group, and there's a lot of other things going on with alleged rape situations. What's your take on all this?
Man, you know, I don't really know how to answer that in the best way. I'm just going to be honest and say, you know, it's not fair to accuse people, but, I mean, when that many things are pointing in your direction and pointing at you, then, I mean, something ain't right, you know. So I can't say anything personally from experience, so I can't even really go there. I just know a lot of the things, if they happen to be true, would be just disgusting, and I would kill somebody if they ever did that to one of my kids or my daughters. So,
does this reflect really badly on jiu-jitsu and MMA? Because he is a higher profile, not only jiu-jitsu coach, but for a lot of MMA fighters, including the bantamweight champion, Dominic Cruz.
Yeah. It does look, people attach themselves to someone that, if it was ends up being all true. But right now, no matter if it is true or not, you still look bad, and people are gonna assume, even if it was all cleared up and thrown out or whatever. But it looks really bad. I think it's not as mainstream. I mean, it is definitely underground and part of the real hardcore community, but the average UFC fan probably doesn't know much about it. But I'm just embarrassed to even hear about it. Yeah, but stuff like that goes on, and shame on them. There, karma is going to come back and bite them in the butt or whatever, But that's all I can really say about it, because I don't know, and I haven't even looked into it that much, or just steer clear of that. I don't want my name associated with anything like that. So
don't blame you. Can't blame you on that at all. All right, Alan. Well, what's the website again? It's immunitymma.com. Is that right? Did I get that right?
immunitymma.com. Yeah.
All right. So all our listeners are going to go check Alan Belcher out at immunitymma.com. And Mr. Belcher, we really appreciate your time today, man. Thanks for taking it out of your day and talking to us here on BJPenn.com radio.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on. Anytime. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right. Bye. There he is, Mr. Matthews. There he was.
Alan Belcher, yeah. Always good talking to Alan. He really, 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 that is going to be a good fight. Alan really wants to beat Michael Bisping badly.
Dude, we have to get. I'm gonna go up the street, knock on Tiki's door, and be like, dude, get me Michael Bisping on a radio show. I mean, I'm gonna have to, right?
We're gonna have to do something at this point, because there's a lot of challenge dropped right there. There's a tattoo. He can put a tattoo on Alan and get a Rolls Royce.
I mean, Alan was like, dude, let's freaking get Michael Bisping on this call right now. It's both of us. We need to talk. I'm like, I wish, but maybe we might be able to deliver that. I think I have some ends over there in the Bisping camp that might prove valuable. Who knows?
Hopefully before Alan decides to throw his press conference, apparently, because he's going to throw a press conference and try to get all the media done in one shot.
Yep.
For the entire fight.
True.
But, interesting take on the whole Lloyd Irvin thing, too. Again, like I said, I think the facts are still coming out, so a lot of people are going to take the high road until everything is divulged and, all the cards are on the table. So, I guess we're all just going to have to wait and see how it all plays out.
Yep. Very interesting stuff, Mr. Lloyd Irvin. Too bad we can't get him on the show, but I think that's probably not ever going to happen.
I can't imagine so. At least not in the foreseeable future. I can't imagine it would be happening. But, Lloyd, if you're listening, we'd like to have you on here. So.
Yeah, I mean, I believe every person has the side of the story, and they need to tell it. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, we give the platform to speak to a lot of people is here if he wants to talk. Like I said, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I think the general consensus for most people is saying, well, I don't want to form an opinion just yet, 100%, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah. All right, we have Jake Shields on next, and I'm excited to talk to Jake because he has been on athletic suspension for a while now. Nobody knows what he was suspended for. He was suspended in a non-disclosure state where they don't release medical records. Jake himself hasn't talked about it. He hasn't really talked to anybody since then. And now we found out the UFC officially announced his upcoming fight today against Tyron Woodley. So I think he's going to be an interesting guy to talk to. He just texted me right now that he just got out of the shower. He started sparring at 4 o'clock Pacific time, which is 2 hours ago. And so he's just got done with sparring, and he'll be on with us shortly. What do you think about his upcoming fight, George, with Woodley?
Again, it's a big fight for both guys. Jake has gone up and down between weight classes. he's got a lot of victories in both weight classes. So it's, I got one side of the fence says, oh, he's better at middleweight, and the other side of the fence says, oh, he's better at welterweight. But the fact of the matter is that he's got good victories at both weight classes. He knows where he fights best. Return to 170 pounds against a fighter like Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley, he does. I think that it would be a great victory because Jake would be picking off one of the guys that is really looking to ascend to the top of the division. If Tyron were to beat Jake, it's a huge feather in his cap. And Jake has held belts everywhere except for the UFC. And he's up for that belt, as well. So it would be a big victory, and it would also be a big victory for Jake because, it's a return to welterweight. You're picking off one of the guys that's supposed to be the future of the division. And, it's a big fight for both guys. I think that either of them at this point, and again, 170 pounds is stacked, but, both of them need this victory. They badly need it. So
Woodley looked pretty beastly, man, in his UFC debut. I ain't gonna lie.
He did. He's explosive. He's a great wrestler. Jake is also a great wrestler, a phenomenal grappler, no-gi submission wrestler. This is a very interesting fight. Technically, Jake, he's got a lot more striking experience too. I mean, he probably has 3 times as many fights pro than Tyron does. He's striking for a long time, but again, it's kind of hard to quantify power when you get in the cage and you put 4-ounce gloves on. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. You can never count out Mr. Shields. That's one thing, I don't think anybody gave him much of a chance against Dan Henderson, and, a lot of people ate their words on that one.
Another strong wrestler with good knockout power. And again, he did, it was scary in the first round for him during that fight, but, he overcame it, he pulled through, and he won. He does find a way to win, whether it's by stoppage, or whether he just dominates you positionally for 3 rounds, whether he's passing your guard, he's got you in side control, whether he has you mounted, he just finds a way to do that to guys. He's done it to a lot of great guys, including a guy we just talked about that was supposed to be he's one of the guys that's beaten Yushin Okami. Yushin Okami has not lost a lot of fights. So you have to give Jake a lot of credit. He has been a top 170, 185 pounder for many, many years. He's beaten a lot of great guys. And this is an extremely tough test. Anybody who's counting Jake out simply because Tyron's got power, that could be a big mistake because Jake has fought a lot of strikers with big power.
Oh, I mean, everybody's going to count him out. I mean, I guarantee as soon as that line comes out, Jake's going to be the underdog. But I think that's a common mistake every time when Jake Shields goes out to fight, is that it's easy to count him out because he doesn't look like the most coordinated or athletically sound guy, but, I mean, the guy handles business when he needs to.
No, he doesn't. But the thing is, again, I think that's where a lot of people need to draw a line there. It doesn't have to always look that great to be good in MMA. It doesn't take away from effectiveness. There's a lot of things that people look at and say, oh, that doesn't technically, but it's effective. It is effective. And he's got his grappling. It's really, it's nullified a lot of people. A lot of, A-level fighters, top 10, top 5 guys. So there's something to be said about that. You can paint whatever way you want to paint it, but the fact of the matter is that he does find a way to win, and he's beaten some of the best guys in the world. So counting Jake Shields out in any fight is probably not a good idea. He did go 5 rounds with the champ also. So we'll see how it plays out, but I'm definitely not counting Jake Shields out of any fight.
Okay. What are your thoughts on, while we're waiting on Jake here, what are your thoughts on UFC 158 next week? That's like a the welterweight gauntlet?
It's, again, big fights, a lot of title implications. Again, a title implication on the undercard with Hendricks and Condit. That's a very interesting fight, too. Johnny's looked really, really good, dispatching a lot of opponents. Carlos is very durable. He does not go away. This will be interesting to see. I don't know if we're going to see more of Johnny's wrestling, or if he's going to be content to stand in a trade with Carlos. That could be a tricky game with a guy that's he's got a very three-dimensional striking attack. He moves really well. You saw that in the Diaz fight. Nick couldn't get a hold of him. So again, it's an interesting fight. Condit looked really good. Even in the loss to GSP, he looked good. So tough fight for Johnny Hendricks, and no doubt that if he beats Condit, he's the number one guy in the division, and he will be a formidable challenger for Nick or GSP. As far as Diaz and GSP are concerned, I don't know. I'm kind of with the masses on this. I don't know where. Diaz has got a very, very good bottom game, and GSP has got a very good top game. How does it balance out? I guess what we want to see. That's what we want to see. Does Nick's jiu-jitsu from the bottom stifle GSP's wrestling from the top? I guess we're going to find out.
No doubt in your mind, though. I'm not speaking for you, but in my mind, there's no doubt that GSP can and will take Nick Diaz down. Would you agree with that?
I think that it would be foolish for him not to.
Yeah.
Simply based, George has never been the type of guy that is going to run around and point fight. He does fight guys, and he will throw shots at you, but he's strategic. Getting into a crazy stand-up war with somebody as durable as Nick, I'm not sure that's a good idea. I think the fight, like you said, will end up on the ground, and then here we are with the problem, so to speak, as Nick calls it. Is he going to have to deal with problems? And like I said, we're going to see. We're going to find out. It's a very, very interesting fight, and both guys want to win really, really badly. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
I agree. Very interesting. What else we got, Georgie? We got the Ellenberger Marquardt fight.
Again, a few guys with big power. Marquardt didn't look that great in his fight with Eric Safadine. It'll be interesting to see how he bounces back. He hasn't had that many fights at 170 pounds.
Yeah.
Jake Ellenberger is also a big welterweight with knockout power. It's a dangerous fight for Marquardt for sure, stylistically, in my opinion. Ellenberger has excellent wrestling. He's good in the clinch. I definitely give Marquardt a striking advantage, but can he defend the takedown? Can he keep it on his feet long enough? Can he? These are questions that I don't know.
What do you think? What do you think about Ellenberger saying that Johnny dodged him and took the easier fight with Condit? Do you think that's true? I kind of feel like, not to say that Condit isn't as good or better than Ellenberger, but I feel like Condit might be an easier stylistic matchup for Johnny. But I don't think you can hate Johnny for taking that fight. But what do you think?
I never want to use the word easier stylistically, but I would say I definitely say that it favors him. I think that a lot of people look at Carlos Condit and they see the the hole in the game. They think the obvious hole in his game is his wrestling. Johnny Hendricks is a Division I national champion wrestler, and he's got knockout power. So he's going to be dangerous, at least from the power standpoint standing, and so that is going to take away from your striking game to begin with. And then on top of that, he's got an obvious wrestling advantage. I'm going to have to agree with you there. Stylistically, I think it does favor him a little bit, although Condit, again, he has been fighting a lot of great guys, and he looks really good. He's been working a lot on his ground game. I imagine that in the last few years, a lot of those holes have been shored up. So we're going to see. We're going to find out, really, because it's another strong wrestler that Condit's got to face. If he gets by this one, I don't know that anybody can really make that claim anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Jake just texted me that he's calling in, and Mr. Shields is actually on our line right now. I'm going to go ahead and connect him. I think that we've killed as much time as we possibly can. George waiting on this guy.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, here we go. Let's get him on. Let's get Shields on right now. Jake, are you there?
Yeah, I am. How you doing, guys?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Just got a little workout done, so about to drive home, and then I think I'm gonna meet Gil. I think Nick's gonna be there. Get one more training session in tonight.
Awesome. Where are you training at right now? You at your academy?
No, I just actually out in East Bay, did some boxing out here. Now I'm gonna head back to San Francisco to meet Gilbert, and I'm pretty sure Nick Diaz is coming out as well. So I think we're gonna do grappling tonight.
Awesome. Do you still have your school over there in Berkeley?
No, actually, I gave it up about a year and a half ago. I just got really busy with other things. I decided to just sell it off to my partner and concentrate on fighting.
Okay. Can I ask you a question real quick, and then we'll get into like the more meaty stuff. But when did you open that school in Berkeley?
It was originally about 3.5 years ago. But yeah, I gave it up like a year and a half ago. So.
Okay. Cool. I was trying to put a timeline together for myself because I've been doing this for a little while now, but you're actually like the very first fighter I ever met. You let me into that school. Like, you let me into your school when you first opened up, and I went in there and I filmed you guys training. I mean, this was a while ago, like you said, 3.5 years ago. And so I was just trying to put a timeline together for myself.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact dates, actually, to be honest. I'm kind of just guessing.
All right, right on. Cool. So, let's talk about your fight. With the UFC just officially announced that you're fighting Tyron Woodley. That's a pretty interesting matchup, man. And you're taking it at welterweight, so you kind of gave up the middleweight ambitions and are going back down to 170. Can you just kind of fill me in on all that and what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just having a hard time keeping my weight up 85s. My weight to be up, I was eating all the time, lifting all the time, and the top weight I ever hit was still around 195, and it's just not big enough. So I decided to stay down at 70s, and Tyron Woodley, that's the fight they offered me. So it's I know he's a good wrestler, good boxer, pretty good jiu-jitsu. So he's an all-around tough guy. So fight I'm very excited for. I haven't watched enough of his tape yet. I'm gonna start watching him, seeing exactly what he does. But I've seen a few of his fights, and I know he's a really athletic, tough guy.
Yeah, he just made his UFC debut a couple of weeks ago, and the guy came out super impressive. Knocked out Jay Heron real quick. He looked great against Jay Heron. So. Yeah, he did. What do you think about all these Strikeforce guys making waves? I mean, you were one of the first imports, and now there's a long list of guys. What do you think about that?
I've always thought Strikeforce was a really good show, stacked with top talent, and it was never quite got the respect because UFC did a great job of branding themselves. I always when I was in Strikeforce, I knew how deep the talent was, so I'm not surprised at all to see these guys doing so well.
Okay.
And and we got Gil Melendez, Strikeforce champ, fighting UFC champ. So that's a fight. I think Gil definitely stands a good shot of beating Ben too. So that's going to be a really great fight coming up.
Yeah, we just talked to Cesar. He opened up the show with us, and he seems pretty excited about that Gilbert Melendez Benson Henderson fight. I know you're real close with Gil. how is his preparation going, and what's the energy like over there with him?
It's great. He's super excited. Gil's he's been a top fighter for years, but never quite got the mainstream recognition and respect he deserves. This is his chance for him to go out there and do it, and just and showcase what he can do and beat Ben. And it's Ben's obviously a tough fight. I think Gil and Ben are very similar in a lot of ways, but right now I see Gil going out there and pulling an upset.
Okay. And what about you, Jake? What is your involvement? Are you in Gilbert's camp? Are you there full time for him and helping him? Because I know you kind of brought him in the game. And are you still there with him like every step of the way as he goes through this journey?
Yeah, definitely. I'm one of the head guys that train him and keeps camp organized, and it's I'm definitely there for him almost every day. So it's he's looking good. I think we're about 7 weeks out now, so he's right on schedule, and every day he looks a little bit better. That's why I'm going to wrestle him tonight, and he's just he's feeling better and better. And I think he's gonna go out there and win this.
Okay. And give me your thoughts too on Nick's fight coming up next week against GSP.
Yeah, that's another great one. I fought GSP and trained with Nick for the last 11 years, and that's one I couldn't be more excited for. It's so great. Nick and Gil, these guys that I've trained with for 11 years, they're both the biggest fights imaginable, and if they can both pull them off, that'll be a huge year for our camp.
Yeah. Well, how do you see the fight with Nick and GSP going down? You've obviously, you spent 25 minutes with GSP, and so what advice do you give him, and what kind of tricks can you help him with, and where do you think he's going to succeed where others have not in the past?
I don't want to get too much away in the game plan, but I think Nick just needs to keep a lot of pressure on GSP, not let him stay away, keep the pressure, and if GSP takes it down, he needs to be really aggressive off his back and not let GSP sit there and just throw elbows. And things he's been working on, and Nick's in shape, and we know Nick's one of those guys that always shows up to fight. I've never seen Nick not come in ready, so it's going to be a war.
Okay, George.
What I was going to ask you was the same thing we talked to Cesar about earlier. A lot of people think the fight is very cut and dry. They're like, oh well, GSP is just going to take him down, hold him down for 5 rounds. He's fought so many black belts, the black belt himself. Why is Nick's game so much different than everybody else that George has done, had a similar strategy for?
I just think his jiu-jitsu is a lot better. He might have fought some black belts, but he hasn't fought, an elite black belt at mixed level. He's he beat Sarah, who's a great black belt, but I feel like Sarah's a lot smaller than him, and at the time was maybe a little past his time. And Nick's still right in his peak, and his jiu-jitsu is just so phenomenal. I think he's gonna have a lot of trouble on top of him. Even Carlos Condit gave him some trouble on bottom. I think Nick's jiu-jitsu is well beyond Carlos's.
Interesting. Let's talk about what have you been doing? You've been on athletic suspension. I just want to know, have you been staying active? What is your mindset been? You've been going through some turmoil in your personal life, with your father passing, and then you get suspended. And I just want to know how are you doing, and what have you been up to, like personally?
Yeah, really a few bad things happened in the last year. We lose being worse. Suspension and all that sort of pain, but I've stayed really active. Been training every day. I went to Thailand for a couple of weeks and trained Muay Thai over there, and I've stayed active in Nate's camp, Gil's camp. I've been staying active with these guys, and I'm really hungry to fight again. This has given me being away from the sports made me mix it even more. So it's made me hungrier than ever, and I can't wait to get back in there and show the world that I'm far from done.
That's exciting. Go ahead, George.
Do you feel like you're flying under the radar a little bit in this fight? Because the 170-pound division has you guys got so many challengers, so many different new faces now that are trying to put their name up there for a title shot. Hendricks is fighting Condit. Rory McDonald is making a name. Tarek Safin won a big fight, coming over from Strikeforce. You have a lot of new guys. Do you feel like you're flying under the radar a little bit? It's because you were top dog, not only in one weight class, but actually 2 weight classes simultaneously, really. Do you feel like you're flying under the radar? Have people forgotten about Jake Shields a little bit, that you're also a top welterweight?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm one of the very best welterweights out there, and I've been forgotten about a little bit and pushed aside. So I need to go out there and make a statement with this fight and show them that I'm still a top guy out there, and I need another title shot. So I need to go out there and not only win, I need to go out there and finish Tyron Woodley and look great doing it.
When you look at his, I don't know if you've had a lot of time to look at Tyron Woodley's game, but he's, you said he's a strong wrestler. Again, you're also a strong wrestler. Whether they cancel each other out, I don't know. But your submission grappling, I think that most would agree is exponentially better, or a good bit better, and probably one of the best in the division. Is that a big problem for him on the ground, even with his strong wrestling background?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think my submissions are way ahead of his. So it's with him being a great wrestler, I have a feeling he's going to try to stay away and try to use his, he's a hard hitter. He's going to try to use his stand-up. So it's a matter of me either be able to beat him to his feet or getting him to the ground. So it's feeling, it's possible to take down. He doesn't like to wrestle, but I have a feeling he's going to want to keep it standing.
Makes sense. Let me ask you this, Jake. How was your time in Thailand? That's a place I've always wanted to go. I haven't had the opportunity. So what was that like for you?
Oh, yeah, it's great. I highly recommend going over there. We're staying at I stayed over at Tiger Muay Thai. We're close to the beach, islands out there, great food, nice people, great training. It's a place I highly recommend going, especially when it's cold. I went there right in the middle of the winter, and it's nice and sunny and warm over there every day.
Awesome. What was the most exotic food you had while you were over there? Did you try any of the delicacies in Thailand? Because I know they get pretty rad.
Well, I don't eat meat, so I didn't have any of the fried bugs or anything.
Oh,
that's probably the weirdest thing. Yeah, so I didn't have anything weird, but I ate some food I wasn't sure what it was, but nothing too crazy.
Okay, cool. Let me ask you this, and I don't want you to expose yourself in any way. Like I said, I hold a lot of loyalty to you. You're the first fighter that I actually met face to face outside of BJ, and you and I have kept in touch over the years. But I'm wondering, and I know a lot of people are wondering. When you got suspended, you came out and you announced it. You like preemptively said, "I messed up. I felt positive. I'm going to be suspended." Okay, but you got suspended in a state that was like a non-disclosure state where they don't really release the medical records and what you got suspended for. I'm not going to sit here and ask you what you failed for. That's your own private business. But do you think that was the best? Was that the best way to do it? Should you have come out and said what you fought for, or do you feel comfortable leaving people to speculate that, hey, maybe it was this or maybe it was that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I need to talk about manager. Maybe I'll come out and talk about the details. It was one of those things. I made a little mistake and figure out the best way to deal with it. The fight's coming up, so I'm sure I haven't really done any interviews lately, so I'm sure I'll be dealing with all that again. So maybe it's something I'll bring up and get into further details soon.
Okay, cool. I was just curious about that. I don't mean to put any pressure on you there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I understand. Obviously, it's something I'm sure that'll be brought up, so maybe it's better just to get all the details, exactly everything soon.
Okay.
One of the things I wanted to ask you about, actually, that has been running across, you see it in a lot of forums and a lot of stories, is all the UFC cuts and a lot of the surprising ones. The name like John Fitch, again, another top-ranked welterweight for a long, long time. You and him kind of sat side by side in the rankings for years and years. Is that something that weighs in the back of your mind, and were you surprised by that cut and some of the other ones?
Yeah, definitely. It's cutting him is crazy. It makes you realize they can cut anyone. It definitely puts it in your head that you better go out there and perform, because it's not about how well you do, I guess. It's about, they want us to make sure you're performing right, and guys that are paying more, they're more likely to cut. It's showing that they're cutting a lot of fighters, and they plan on cutting 100 more. So, definitely means they want to go out there and win, and also want to go out there and put on a good show.
Do you feel like that takes away from the sport at all, or is that just part of the business?
Yeah, I think it does. I don't think it's good, but I guess it's, but it's also a business. They're the ones running it, so it's their decision to make.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I was. You know what I thought was fishy about that whole situation is the UFC comes out and they release a ranking system. Okay, which is awesome. Everybody likes to see rankings, whether they mean anything or not. It's still cool to see the numbers. And then they have John Fitch ranked as their number 9 welterweight, I believe, is what he was ranked at. Okay, and then the very next week he gets cut. And in my mind, I'm just like, how did they at their own admission, they're releasing these rankings. He's a top 10 guy. But not good enough.
Yeah, no, I think dropping the top 10 guys is crazy unless they've done something like, maybe multiple drug test failures or something really crazy to insult the company. But I don't think, if they've been a company man and played by the rules in the top 10, cutting you seems unfair to me. That's my opinion. Obviously it's not my country, not my company, so it doesn't matter. But I don't think that's right cut and jump, bitch.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let me ask you this. Another teammate. You have Nate Diaz coming up, getting ready to fight Josh Thompson in the near future. Josh is a Bay Area guy like you are. You guys are all NorCal residents. I don't know this for certainty, but I'm sure you've had some experience with Thompson over the years. Just you guys lived in so close together. What are your thoughts on that fight?
Oh, man, it's a great fight. I've trained with Josh a little, trained with Nate a lot. Josh is tough. He's good at what he does, but I think Nate's a tough matchup for him. Nate stays in his face, and he's going to break him. You just got to watch, where Josh stands a chance if he can, take him down and play it kind of safe. Because if he opens up, Nate will beat him. But Josh, this guy capable of giving him a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight. I know you have to be familiar with Josh even outside of training with him because of the Gilbert Melendez trilogy. That guy seems to be like Gilbert Melendez almost kryptonite because those are the most competitive fights that Gil's been in, I think. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, they've had three battles together, and Josh has given them a lot of trouble. He's definitely one of the toughest matchups for Gil.
Okay. What do you think about this, Jake? It's something that's been up over the past week and a half or so. Matt Riddle, UFC welterweight, he failed for marijuana for the second time, got cut, and you are affiliated with the notoriously cannabis advocate Nick Diaz. Do you think that was fair treatment for Matt to be cut for marijuana, especially being that he was prescribed it? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. That's a tricky question because I think you should be able to smoke. I don't think there's a test for it, is my opinion. But at the same time, if you just tested for it and you're going to get drug tested again, it's like you got to be ready to pass the test. And this is something Nick's dealt with too, and I really hope he comes through clean this time and doesn't run into something like this. It's just like if you're getting tested, either find a way to cleanse it out of your system or whatever. But especially twice in a row, I think everyone should get one pass on it. But if you fell for it twice, then it's on you.
Well, what does it say about people getting therapeutic exemptions for testosterone, but yet you fail for pot and?
Yeah, I think that's completely unfair. I think if you're supposed to get exempt for testosterone, you're supposed to get exempt for pot, especially since pot's not been shown to be a performance enhancer. I mean, some guys, maybe for some guys it might be a mild enhancer, maybe allows them to sleep better and stuff like that. So it might help them throughout their camps, but it's not actually going to help them on fight night. It's not going to make them stronger and faster like TRT.
Right.
That's true. Okay. What are your thoughts of the UFC 158, the whole welterweight gauntlet? What besides your teammate Nick's fight, what other fights are like the big marquee fights on the night next weekend?
Man, a bunch of good fights. I mean, I'm looking forward to the Condit. What's the name of the guy's fighting? Condit wrestler. I can't think of his name right now.
Johnny Hendricks.
Yeah, Hendricks. That should be a great fight. A tough one to call. I think Condit gives him a lot of trouble though with the style matchup. So that's a good fight. Also Ellenberger Marcourt. That's another close fight. Go either way. I mean, it's definitely a good card.
Where do you see yourself in that whole mix-up, Jake?
Oh man, I would love to fight all those top guys. It's like I was hoping to get on that card. I called right away when I heard. As soon as I heard that, who ended up pulling out? It was the guy that was supposed to fight Hendricks. So someone pulled on. Rory McDonald. I heard he pulled out. I called right away asking to get in the mix-up, but unfortunately, they put Marcourt in there instead.
Yep, that would have been nice, huh? Are you ready to fight if the UFC called you as a last-minute replacement? Are you good to go? Not for that card necessarily.
Well, now I wouldn't be, but I was. That happened it's been 4 weeks out of my fight, so I felt like I was ready by then. And I could step in fight in April, something like that. I feel like I'm ready in a month, but 2 weeks is too close. I usually get ready in a month. I try to stay in shape year round.
How hard is that cut to 170 pounds these days? Has it gotten worse over the years when you cut to 170? It kind of floated around.
it's been really tough on me in the past, but right now I got my weight in check. I've been like eating really clean, doing a lot of running, and just keep my weight down to around 185. There's been times when I've blown up, but I'm trying to keep my eating habits a lot better.
So when you fight the guys at 170 and you fight the guys at 180, so when you fight the middleweights, do you see the strength and size difference, or when you get to go down to welterweight, do you see a speed difference? Or
yeah,
you know,
yeah, the middleweights are definitely a lot stronger, but then that's the thing, the welterweights are faster. So it's kind of, do I want to deal with bigger, stronger guys or smaller guys that are a lot faster? So, and I'm kind of, like I said, I mean, I'm okay fighting either way. It's just kind of, I'm not saying I won't fight 85s again, especially if Nick Diaz wins the title, then I'm not going to be trying to challenge Nick Diaz. So if I can put a couple wins together, I might just move up and say, obviously, I'm not going to challenge Nick.
Makes sense.
right.
I have a question for you, Jake. This is kind of a throwback question, man. You competed for my bosses, the Pens, at Rumble on the Rock in the big welterweight tournament. And
yeah.
I just want to know, when you look back on that event, how does that rank to you? Because you beat some pretty good guys in that tournament, you know. I mean, where does that stand out in your list of accomplishments?
Yeah, that was. I mean, so I've done a lot of great accomplishments. That was definitely a huge one. That tournament was stacked. I mean, Anderson Silva was in there, but it's the first round I beat Dave Monet, the former UFC champ. He's kind of forgotten about now, probably, but at the time he was really big, former champ. And then after that, in one night, I was able to go through Yushin Okami and Carlos Condit, who are two of the best. So to have two wars like that and win in one night was a very proud moment.
Yeah, and what's changed now? I mean, there's obviously a lot has changed in the world of MMA, but in your eyes, from that night to current date, how has Jake Shields' MMA world changed?
It's changed in a lot of ways. Just for one, guys are constantly getting better. I mean, more and more fighters are getting better, but also a lot more popular. It's just, it's big now. At that point, it was starting to break through a little mainstream, but it wasn't huge yet. It was big in Hawaii because they love fighting in Hawaii. So we sold a lot of seats there, but it hadn't really hadn't quite crossed into the mainstream yet. And now it's just everywhere. I do a lot of traveling, and I see it everywhere.
Yeah. Is it now? Let's forget about like the money aspect, but because obviously there's more money in it now. But is it better? Is it better now or back then? Would you say, in your opinion?
The sport.
Yeah, the sport in general.
That's tough. It's both. It's tough because I liked it better back then because it was pure. Everyone that involved, they have the love of the sport. It was just like everyone really loved what they were doing. We just loved fighting. It was definitely pure. People weren't in it for the wrong reasons. Now you get a lot of guys that are in it trying just to get fame or money, and there's lots of annoying business stuff to deal with it. But we make a lot more money. So overall, I'll say it's better now.
Better now. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot about the sport then, but we weren't making any money, so it's nice to be able to make a good living doing this.
Right, makes sense. And that's what I kind of figured. The money's good now. Everybody needs to make a living, and it's nice. You get you guys get the notoriety and the fame, and you get nice paychecks at the end of the day. But back then, it did seem more pure. It did seem more about martial arts.
Because there wasn't the money and the fame in it. So everyone was doing it we were doing it because we really wanted to do it, and that part was awesome. But it's when it comes down to it, we also like the money and the fame. So overall, it's a good thing. You just get people in it for the wrong reasons.
Yep. Sounds good. All right, Jake. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, man, and I wish you the best of luck in your upcoming fight with Woodley and in your preparation with it, and hope all goes well for you.
All right. Cool.
Thank you, man.
Bye.
Bye. Hello, Mr. Matthews.
That was Jake Shields. Yeah, that's gonna be a good fight, man. That's gonna be a great fight.
Yeah.
I really do. I was very genuine. I really do think a lot of people are counting him out. A lot of people think that. I think Tyron Woodley's knockout victory, UFC knockout victory, is so fresh in people's heads, and Jake has been so far removed from current MMA standings that people forget. I think.
Well, MMA fans have a very short-term memory, and And like it or not, like we were talking about it earlier, a lot of people just like to hate on Jake. You know what I mean? He's always counted out, but this guy, man, he's a veteran. I mean, he fought, like we just were talking about, a Rumble on the Rock, beat freaking Yushin Okami and Carlos Condit in the same night. I mean, how many people can actually say that? You know?
And again, you know, that's what I was saying earlier. You know, you heard Alan talking. You know, Yushin is tough. He's lost to Yushin twice, and he's considered one of the top middleweights in the world. You know, here's a guy that is really supposed to be fighting at 170 pounds.
Yeah.
He has tough time keeping weight on. Should be fighting at 170. Has gone up and down and has had success in both weight classes. And to beat a guy like Okami and then also beat Condit in the same night, those are huge accomplishments.
Yeah.
And counting Jake out is a big mistake. You know,
I think we could have got what he tested positive for out of him. I just didn't want to press that.
Yeah, I think he's going to say it in his own time.
Yeah.
And you know, really, it's not like everybody's been clamoring to find out, you know, what exactly he failed for. I mean, that's his business. And
well, he hasn't talked to anybody, so when you're silent, you know what I mean? When you kind of go underground for a bit, you know, there's no way it's going to get out. I think we're the first people he's talked to in a long time, so.
You can only speculate. You can only speculate, really. You know, they've got strict privacy laws in that state, and you know, but it was only a 6-month suspension.
Yeah. If you were Ariel Helwani, you would have gotten out of them, George.
Probably, if I was Ariel Helwani, I might have been waiting for him in his living room with a camera guy to ask him what exactly he failed for. So I'm just kidding, Ariel.
Step up your game. Step up your game, George.
I know. Apparently, I need to step my game up and start, breaking into people's houses and hiding out with cameras or something like that. No, we're just kidding, Ariel. We know you don't do that, but we're just using some satire and making light of things.
All right. Well, what do you think, man? That was our show. I don't know if we're going to be back next week. You want to come back next week, or should we hire some hosts?
I don't know. You know, I guess we should see how this one goes, huh? We can come back next week, I guess. Why not? Until people get tired of hearing us.
Yeah. I'm looking at the numbers, man. We're doing pretty good. So looks like it's an improvement from the last show. Maybe it's just the lineup we had. We had some pretty good guests today.
So I mean, you know, Cesar, Jake, and Alan. You know, those guys always have some interesting things to talk about. And like you said, Jake hasn't even talked to anybody since the last fight, you know, and, you know, he's probably going to have a media storm coming up for the fight with Woodley, and it was good to talk to him before everybody else did.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, that's it, huh? That's our. I think this is our radio debut, man, and we did pretty good. Probably we'll listen back and think that we didn't do so good, but we made it happen.
I'm patting myself on the back right now.
I'm proud of you, dude. I'm so proud of you. I mean, me, I'm just here. I'm always here. I'm always in the background somewhere. But you, this is like your coming out party. Totally. George and Matthews, Team 10.
But it was fun, and it's easy to, you know. How many times have you and I had this have had probably this exact conversation over the year, minus the guests? So it's pretty easy to do.
Oh yeah, dude. You and me, we'll talk for hours.
Yeah, we'll sit there for, you know, we've actually talked about, you know, if we could have recorded this entire conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun. It's easy. It was fun. It was good to talk to those guys and get a lot of interesting insight about some of the things that are going on, and not just their fights, but a lot of the things that are going on in general.
All right. Yeah, it was. All right. Well, we'll play this week by week. We actually, believe it or not, I have a long list of applicants wanting to take over the hosting positions here at BJPenn.com radio. Once word spread that our last hosts have left us and they're going on to bigger and better things, apparently, the applications started flooding in. So you and I will take this week by week. We'll see how it goes. And we'll be back next week, I guess, huh? With a pretty good panel, with a pretty good guest list, man. I think that if people liked this week's guest, they're going to love next week even more, because I got some pretty big names in the works and some guys that really are probably going to have a lot to say.
That's right. Make the announcement shortly. Everybody, be sure to look out for the announcement who the guests are going to be, because always deliver in that department.
Yes, sir. All right, we're done, man. Should I play our little jingle we got going on?
I think you should play the jingle. I want an outro.
All right, here we go. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll be back next week, same time, same place, bjpenn.com. There it is. Oh yeah, that's a sexy beat, huh?
Oh, very.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm gonna cut this off. Thanks guys for listening. We'll get back to you next week.